Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Discover a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Kroger Delivery has one mission: to deliver the freshest food right to your door. That's why our drivers are pros. Our trucks are refrigerated. And when it comes to low prices, we always deliver. With $20 off your first order of $75 or more, there's no better time to get in on the action. Mission accomplished. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey y'all, I'm JJ.
Hey guys, it's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests who share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Welcome back to another episode of Don't Blame Me. Yeah, that's what we're recording right now. This is an advice podcast where we give you wonderful, amazing, life-changing advice, and we're going to change your life. We're matching today. If you want to check out the Patreon.
Mine's a Razorback, though.
Woo, big Suey.
Good job.
Thanks.
My heating pad also matches.
Oh, nice. So you've got your heating pad. I have my Gas X and my Zofran.
Nice. We're prepared. I have my laser focused gummies.
Oh, yeah. Didn't you say those work?
Yeah, they're pretty good.
I need to try them because my brain has been off. Like, my brain has been van life off the grid for at least a month.
I do have these other ones, and they probably would do the same to you, so I don't recommend them, but I have a full ball of them if you just like to try.
Oh, if I just want to fuck around?
Yeah.
What is it?
They gave me, they're Ollie by the same company, but they're like brain pills. And they gave me a headache. So,
Ooh. Yeah, I have what I would consider a very rational fear of headaches now, ever since I had that one thing that started as a headache and turned into the illest I've ever been in my life. So I'm terrified of that. And now anytime like I start feeling off, I like panic. And I'm like, oh no, it can't happen again. It can't happen again. And I guess I'd like talk to one of my neighbors about it in passing. Like I was just like, oh yeah, like, and I got like, they were like, well, what happened that weekend or whatever? Because they were like asking to hang out and like we couldn't. But like Moms had said then they're like, oh yeah. I was like, yeah, I was like sick. And then like they were talking to Moms about it. And then they were like, bitch, you did not explain how fucking sick you were. Like that was really insane. And I was like,
bad.
Yeah, it was really bad. It's just really, really bad. I literally treated it so casually in the vlog where I was like, no, we've got a couple of day break because I got sick.
Casual when you told me about it, and I said, wait, Megan,
well,
I need you to go into
a lot of
detail.
it. Like I was so ill that like it's a blur. Like my brain is like, we're gonna protect you from some of this. Yeah. So I was in an unrelated note, I was glutened last night. It's not as bad as like a full glutening, but that's why we've got the Zofran, and then her period's coming. So just know that we see you in your struggles of whatever you might be dealing with, whether it's
ailments
traffic,
that you have.
Yeah, you stubbed your toe, any of those things.
Yeah.
You've got gas pain.
Ugh.
Yeah. That's what I've got my Gas X for. So this is a podcast where we're going to give you some advice. And first, the advice is heating pads Gas X, and Zofran.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you want to call in for an upcoming episode, you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. International listeners, you can send us an audio message at meganpodcast@gmail.com. And we ask for both of those things. Oh, and you can also send us a DM too on Instagram. But for all of them, be 18 or over, have your parents' permission. Let us know your pronouns if you would like, but we do require that you tell us how old you are. It's all anonymous, so you can use fake names, and we need as much information as possible so we can give you the best advice as possible. And for the audio message, as well as the Google voice message, the voicemail, you have to keep it under 3 minutes. And for the written ones in the email or our DMs, keep them under 300 words. And believe in yourself. Like, you know?
Shoot for the stars.
Reach for the stars, shoot for the stars, do whatever you need to do. And just know that, like, you can go balls to the wall and, like, we're not here to judge you unless we need to.
What was that saying that was happening for?
You aim for the star. If you shoot for the star,
moon,
you'll land amongst the stars.
And it's just like,
I want to say that who's that goddamn bitch with her "Don't Wash Your Face" book? What's her name? I swear to God, she did. That was like one of the ones, and then she was like, "Said by me," and I'm like, "Ma'am, no, I think this is translated from fucking Latin." Like it was one of those ones that like everybody's already said that she went, "Yeah, actually." That was me. That was, and she was that Maya Angelou quote. No, she got that from me. I'm like, you're insane. Wonder what she's doing. Rachel Hollis.
It was a Rachel. I knew it was a Rachel.
No, I knew it was Rachel too. So if your name is Rachel and you listen to the show, we're not talking about you.
We might be.
Unless
maybe
we are.
Unless you're a Rachel that needs to be reformed and you're here and you realize that you are the problem and you're here for solutions.
I also think a Rach is very different than a Rachel. You know? Like, you're trying to distance yourself from your roots.
But
I don't think I've ever called anyone Rach in my life.
Me either. And I've known a few Rachels. But there's one person that I find highly annoying. That is her name. We were talking about it on Instagram DMs. And they call her that. And I don't agree.
I also just looked it up to confirm. Ray Gunn, the Olympic breakdancer, her name is Rachel.
I know.
It was just my reminder to myself.
Rachel Gunn.
I love a creative name.
Did you see her supposed apology that she had that came out when she did her official interview? And it was the first time she was breaking her silence.
It was an apology?
Exactly. That's the thing. It wasn't. People were like, she apologizes for what she did. And then you read the actual article. There was no apology. Or it wasn't even an article. It was a interview. If you watch the thing, there's no apology in sight. She's like, it was basically, I apologize if you were offended.
I was offended. I was offended. The fact that you made me watch this, Raycon, and also you should know that my 4, almost 5-year-old nephew, he now loves breakdancing and constantly goes, I'm so much better than her. And I go, yeah, you are.
You are. Yeah, you are.
Yeah,
I saw the Paralympics they had in the closing ceremony. And I felt like it was they were like, look, this is what breakdancing is supposed to look like.
Dick. Like, it was epic. And
I was like, epic.
And that's what I'm used to seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And it also was like, it wasn't even a competition. It was like not like a display, but like just a performance essentially.
It was a performance, yeah.
And so I'm like,
y'all just did this. And I love it.
The fucking medals to them.
Yeah. And this should be a sport for Paralympics. They killed it.
Oh my God. It was incredible. And it was like the kind that like Reagan, first of all, I go, if she was on the street doing that, I would go get off the street.
Mm-hmm. I would be like, someone call an ambulance. There's something wrong with this lady.
That Rach. Rach is she's in peril. Yeah. Something is wrong. But like usually, and specifically because we like live in LA, like you'll see amazing dancing on the street. And
it's not just LA. In Arkansas, I could go down the street. Any place you go.
That, like, specifically, like here, in the sense that like it could have been, we would have been able to stick with it here and had like a great competition, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But like the Paralympics, I was like, I would have stopped and watched here where I'm used to seeing very good dancing on this. I would have been like, no, this is exceptionally good. Also on beat, which Ray Gunn's never heard of a beat.
No.
Crazy. Okay.
But That's a lot. This is the last time we're going to talk about that broad. Unless she does something very, very dumb and we just can't help but talk about it.
I know. I think it's going to be a huge Halloween costume.
They've been selling it.
Yeah.
And it's easy to do just with green clothes.
Anyways.
All right. Should we get in the first one?
We should. Oh, and you can also watch the video version on Patreon if I didn't say that. We said matching. We already said that. Sorry.
No, it doesn't hurt to say it again.
Please don't listen to my last voicemail. It's fucking embarrassing. I messed up and then I dropped the phone and then I couldn't get to it. Anyway, hey, Meghan and Melisa.
You gotta find it.
I, 32 female, need advice about my boyfriend's cousin who's 40 and we will call Joe. He's a man.
Oh, God.
First off, I
already hate him
by saying my boyfriend's aunt by marriage, who we'll call Diane, comes from a family who kisses each other on the lips as a greeting. Her kids, a.k.a. Joe, and her grandkids all kiss her on the lips when they're greeting her. I've only seen family members kiss Diane, like never each other. And I want to say I know that families can like kiss on the lips and it doesn't have to be like a weird thing. It's just not something that I'm comfortable with doing just because of like trauma. So now onto the problem at hand. While on a week-long vacation with Diane, Joe, and their families, we all took a boat ride across the lake to go swimming. This was the first time I had done this without my boyfriend present. I ended up having 5 shots that afternoon, which is more than I typically would have. I'm going to be honest, I was pretty messed up. I remember being on the back of Joe's boat on the way back to our cabins and just like feeling happy and grateful to be having a good time. And I remember I told Joe how much I love my boyfriend and like how happy I was to find like such a sweet family. We were sitting right by the boat's motor, so I had to kind of lean into him and like shout a little by his ear to do this. I don't remember much about the rest of the boat ride back to the cabin. So the next day at dinner, Joe says I was quote unquote loving on him in the back of the boat to everyone at the table. He's laughing and he says, "You kissed me. You don't remember?" And no, I do not remember. I freaked out internally because, ew, I would never in my life kiss that man. Like, believe me when I say that. So at first I thought he was joking, but then he brought it up again. And I was so uncomfortable that I didn't know what to say beyond like, oh my God, that doesn't sound like me. That's weird. I don't remember that. I tried to move on, but I can't stop feeling gross about the whole thing. It's like I'm questioning everything. Did he kiss me? Did he do it in a quote unquote family way? Like, I feel like I know with 99.999% certainty that I would never do that. And now looking back, certain comments he's made in the past about me are now making me feel grossed out. How do I go about handling this? I really just want to move on and pretend it never happened, but I am disgusted. What would you do if you were in my position? Thank you for listening. I love the pod so much. If I left anything out, I'm happy to clarify. Bye.
I wish I could go back and never hear this either. Nobody wants to be in this position.
God. No, Joe has to die. The way that you and your boyfriend need to move, abort mission.
What did your boyfriend say to all this?
Because to me, like, there's zero doubt in my mind that you did not kiss this man. You were not loving up on this man. Are y'all in
the South? Because that's such a Southern thing.
Well, but I'm saying like there's just like this whole thing of being like, oh well, you were drunk. We don't do that when we're like, that's not no. You don't just be like into somebody when you're drunk and then like no. This is
I have been
no, but like a family member. You don't like
not a family
get
member.
Drunk enough that you forget that they're your cousin and like but that's not
cousin, not actually cousin though.
But cousin-in-law, essentially.
They're not married.
Oh, no. I mean, I just like, I think the fact that you're so icked out by it, like, to me, I'm like, I don't think you did anything. But the whole thing that's like so fucking weird to me is even if you did do it, that like he's bringing it up and talking about it, that's fucking creepy.
Why wouldn't, if you did do it, why didn't he say something to you in private?
Because I don't think you did. Because I think he's trying
boyfriend.
to just give you some attention. I think he's just trying to make you uncomfortable. I think, if anything, if anyone made a move, it would have been him. And I think that's clearly shown by the fact that he's bringing it up in front of everybody and joking about it.
The only thing that I would think would be logical is because you're riding on the back of his, what did she say, speedboat or whatever?
Yeah, something.
And you had like your arms around him and you had to talk loud
Yeah, near his ear.
And so like your lips might have brushed up against his ear or his
proximity.
cheek or something. And you were drunk. And it's on a boat, like it might have been moving around and there's just a touch. And he thought because you were holding close so you didn't die, then he thought that you were showing him affection. That's the only thing that makes sense to me in this scenario. But like,
it's abundantly clear to me that Joe is a single 40-something-year-old man. But yeah, to me, the whole red flag of all of this is like him bringing it up repeatedly and being weird about it in front of the family. Like, I'm also curious what your boyfriend said. This probably doesn't help you. This would also keep me up at night. Like, this would make me feel so deeply fucking uncomfortable.
This is going to keep me up tonight. I hope that I forget it.
Yeah, like, I would be like, cool. So we actually can never hang out with them again. Because I expect if I do something embarrassing, which again, I don't even think you did that, but like, it's one thing to do something embarrassing, and I would have beef with someone if they decided to bring that up in front of people. If they did to intentionally embarrass me after I know I did something embarrassing. It's even worse when you didn't do anything and they make up a thing that you saying that you quote unquote did to make you even more embarrassed. I'm like, no. I expect the people in my life, if I trip and I fall, I should be the first one to say something. If I don't say anything, we don't see anything. No one saw it. We're fine. We're moving on. But like, this is just like so icky and gross to me. And like, I would be curious what the rest of the family did. Because to me, this just seemed like a pervy guy testing the waters of like how much he can get away with.
Yeah.
So I would hop on the speedboat and ride off into the sunset and never come back.
Yuck.
I have such bad secondhand embarrassment for you. And I know that probably doesn't make you feel any better. But just know that like...
And if y'all aren't watching this, we tried to disappear.
That was hard. And like, we feel for you. Like, you're not overreacting whatsoever. Like, this would make me so deeply, deeply uncomfortable that Joe and I would never be in the same room again. And I would be doing everything in my power to forget that he ever existed.
No, thank you.
And this is why the whole thing that we should never judge fully grown adults kissing their family is not true, because sometimes there's a fucking weirdo in the family.
Mm-hmm.
Ew, stop. Melissa, I'm gonna get mad. I'm gonna throw up. I'm too weak for that today. You can't do that to me. My tummy is not okay. Whew.
It made my lips feel weird.
Yeah, okay.
It's a weird vibration.
We're moving on. We're gonna
take a break.
I'm so sorry.
We need a little cleanse here.
We do need a break. And again, caller, I'm so deeply sorry.
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But at Realm, we also sell some pretty cool merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. When you think about successful businesses like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, an often overlooked secret is the business behind the business that makes selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. That's because nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret that's definitely worth talking about is that Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%. That's more happy customers and way more sales going... If you're hoping to grow your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a co-founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. During her journey, Isla meets new friends, including King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, and learns valuable life lessons with every quest, sword fight, and dragon ride. positive and uplifting stories remind us all about the importance of kindness, friendship, honesty, and positivity. Join me and an all-star cast of actors including Liam Neeson, Emily Blunt, Kristen Bell, Chris Hemsworth, among many others, in welcoming the Search for the Silver Lining podcast to the Go Kid Go network by listening today. Look for the Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We're back from our break.
I'm not recovered.
Me neither. Let's distract ourselves with the next one.
Hey, Meghan and Melisa. I am in need of some serious advice. I am 26 and go by she, her pronouns. I'm asking for advice about my best friend. Let's call her Stacy, and her ex will call him Ralph. So Stacy and Ralph had a huge falling out after dating for 5 years. She found out he lied about a lot of stuff, and it caused her to no longer trust him. After 6 months of grieving over what could have been, she is in a much better place. So here's where things get fishy. Her ex slid into my DMs. Seemed harmless at first, but I found it strange as we were never friends. Then he asked me out to coffee, which was even weirder. I didn't respond. He then followed up telling me he always found me attractive, but never would have crossed that line while with Stacy. Once again, didn't respond. Now I'm wondering if I should tell her. She was in a really bad place and things are finally looking up. Do I have to tell her, or is it a betrayal to our friendship?
I might have a hot take. There is a circumstance in which you never have to tell her. And that is that you've never seen this message, you never read it, and you've never told a single other soul about it. But if you've ever talked to anyone about it, it can be a family member, anyone, or if you've read the message and he's seen that you've read the message or anything like that, then no. But like, I firmly believe if you want to plead ignorant on it, it has to be foolproof. And you have to be a really good liar.
How big of a weirdo is he?
Seems like a pretty fucking big weirdo.
Like stalker vibes type weirdo, to the point where he's not going to stop until you give him an answer, or like the kind of you give him an inch, then he'll take a mile. Like as in, please don't contact me ever again. I'm not interested. Or if you just block him since he added you as a friend or followed you. Ugh.
I mean, regardless, the best course of action with it's just not engaging.
I was going to say, I would just block him and not say anything to him. I don't think it's a betrayal of your friendship because you didn't engage with him.
No, but I do think if you block him, you should tell her that you've seen it, because then you've seen it.
Yeah.
Because
that's true.
The other thing is too, is that like, what would you want if the roles were reversed? Like if she was in this position and like you might not have a comparable ex, but if you did, what would you want? And I think if you're worried about being a betrayal to the friendship, because you think it might be. And in that sense, I think like the only reason why I can get away with being like, that never happened is also my ADHD. Like I can truly forget things have happened in that sense. But like if you feel guilt about this, or it's like eating you up and you maybe responded to the first message, tell her. I would never be offended if a friend was like, I didn't know what he wanted.
But it could be to the point where like she never wants to hear about him ever again. And so she doesn't want to know. And like you blocking it is, I wouldn't think that blocking would be a betrayal because you never actually engaged with him. It's not like you said anything to him.
Yeah, but some people, because I think like there are not people that I would automatically assume like I'm worried they'll think it's a betrayal of friendship. Like there are friends where I'm like, they would never want to hear. But then there are ones that I go, they might think that because I didn't say something, I didn't want to tell them because there might be something there later. You know what I mean? Like
I don't feel that at all.
And but like I could see some people feeling that way.
I think if you blocked him and never said anything, there's no harm, no foul, because you weren't interested. You didn't say anything to him that you might be interested. So I don't see how that's a betrayal. And it's like, fuck that dude. I don't care about him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think that the way that you can never go wrong is splitting the difference between doing what you would want someone else to do if you were in that situation, and then taking into account what you think this person might feel, like the person your friend in that sense. And so if you're like, I have actually no idea how she'd feel, then you just have to go based on what would you want if you were in that situation. And if that is like you wouldn't want to know, then great. But I do think like we should, if we what we want out of our friends, we should expect to do in our circumstances with them, and like have that be a back and forth. So I think like, I don't know. I think like if you're worried about it being a betrayal of friendship, is it the hiding it, or is it what aspect of it? Like, and where's that coming from? Is it coming from your own guilty conscience? Because that is then something that like, I don't know how you're going to get rid of that.
But what is there to be guilty on?
I don't know. That's like, we're feeling like you're keeping a secret. And in that sense, it's like, my whole thing is like, you don't have to tell her, but then you can't tell anybody. Like, you can't talk about this with people. You can't, because that becomes gossip, and that becomes like, you are hiding something from her specifically. But like, if it really is like, you don't give a shit or whatever, like, then you just don't talk to anybody about it. But if you are wanting to talk to people about it, she has to know.
If you want to talk to people about it, then yes, I agree.
Yeah.
But like, if you haven't told anybody, I don't
then I don't think you should tell anybody.
No,
not at all. And yeah, it's not a betrayal of friendship. As somebody who has like cut off people, I don't want to hear about them at all. Like, I have zero desire to hear about them. Like, if there's something I need to know that's like imperative, I would ask you to be like, why? Why is it imperative? How does that affect me? And like, and real me, not the idea that you have that I might care or whatever that is. And that might be harder for other people who have not had like such cut and dry bad things end, that it might be like, oh, well, I should just make the decisions for like who they are today, not like what you think they might want later on. So yeah, but yeah, that's a tough, awkward, weird spot to be in.
Like, does she still talk about him? If it's like a still talk about thing where she's like, I think we should get back, he might have changed, we should get back together, then yes, bring it up.
Yeah,
but
because
if she
he might
doesn't give a fuck, I don't see why we need to have this conversation.
Mm-hmm. And this has happened seemingly in the course of 6 months. So I also think you're kind of at the point where it's been too long, unless you've told other people again. But I'm not a big fan of sitting on information and then being like, should I tell this other person? Like, for me, it's either like, I know in the moment immediately, I'm going to text you as soon as I get it, screenshot of it happening, or I'm never going to say anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Go with your gut. And your gut didn't tell her. But that's just my viewpoint. Because I have a great way at just forgetting things ever happened.
And I remember things.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to know.
And sometimes suddenly I remember things. Like, I remember getting a message from someone tangentially, or like in a circumstance with someone else, and then being like, hey, I know that you have a thing. Can you fix this? Can you help us figure it out? And I was like, damn, that's crazy. I should respond. It's been years. Never responded.
Not your problem anymore.
Yeah. If I don't immediately hop to it, it's not high on the priority list. And therefore, it actually turns out it's not my problem. Because if I don't feel like the house is on fire, that's my problem. If that's not my instant reaction, turns out it's actually not my problem. And I'm not going to opt into somebody else's problem. The end.
All right. Next one.
Hey, Queens. Love you ladies so much. And I'm excited to call in. So I'm having relationship issues. I'm 20, she, her, and my boyfriend is 27, he, him. So my last relationship was 2 years ago with my high school boyfriend. He was so romantic and treated me like I was his world. We were going to college in two different sides of the country, so we parted as best friends. Needless to say, he set the standards pretty high for the next guy. My current boyfriend and I have been together 11 months, and there is not a romantic bone in his body. I plan all of our dates and come up with any little getaways we take down to even our budget. So our 1 year is coming up, and I refuse to plan it, and I want him to take initiative. I've dropped hints like, so what are we doing for our anniversary? Should I take a few days off from work, etc.? And he's just like, oh, whatever you want to do is fine. It's driving me crazy. Should I be more direct and just be like, you have to plan it? Is it an age gap? Maybe older guys aren't into romance. I would love your opinion. Oh, so you hit the nail on the head. All of the above. It's not that older guys aren't into romance. It's older guys who date younger girls.
I was going to say, because he's not old.
No, that's why he's not dating someone his own age, because he wants you to put him on he needs someone to put him on a pedestal while he's doing absolutely nothing. Yeah. And women his age are not going to do that.
Yeah. And then also, like, if there wasn't an age gap like this, I would be like, in relationships, some people are planners and some people, help with the execution. But I think like you dropping hints is not the way to go about it. If you want something done. Do you think
that's a hint though? Saying, what are we doing for our anniversary? To me, that doesn't sound like it. That sounds pretty direct.
Like, we'll do whatever you want to do. But it's not like she's not saying you need to plan.
He knows that's what crazy. She means though. It's like that Kiwi guy.
Yeah, I know. But like to her, this sounds like a hint instead of just directly saying, because she's also young.
Yeah, it feels like you're saying a hint to you. I want to let you know this is not a hint to him. He knows what you're saying.
Yes. You're not saying plan this. You're just like, oh, something's coming up. And he's like, whatever you want to do, but you're not telling him what you want to do. So you're going to be sitting there sucking your thumb, not doing. I'm sorry, that sounded like I was calling you a child. You're going to be sitting there
popping each other's assholes.
You're just going to be sitting there mad at each other. Well, he probably won't care, but you'll be sitting there mad because no anniversary thing is being planned.
Yeah, I think for your own sake, it sounds like you're halfway there to the realization of, older guys who are interested in 20-year-olds. This is actually not great. This is actually not the dynamic I want. But you've also been together for nearly a year, so I'm not going to be an idiot about it and just be like, break up, obviously. Like, sometimes, as my therapist says, sometimes you need to spend the time turning over every stone. Sometimes you need to spend the time feeling like you've exhausted your options, even if you kind of know what the resolution is. So be direct with him and say, I'm not going to plan our anniversary. It's really important to me that you do this. I do this all the time. This is like a crucial part of a relationship for me, is to have that be reciprocated. And you can stick around to see what he does and if he like lives up to it. But I'm just not to be pessimistic, but these quote unquote dropping hints, he knows what you mean. And he probably, if you continue just dropping hints, he probably would plead ignorance and be like, well, you never asked me to. But I think even if you ask him, you're not going to be happy with the result, because he knows what you want. And he's like, unless you spell it out, I'm still not going to do it. So it's something you want. Like, this is just, it's the age gap. Like, that is what the actual truth of the matter is. Like, that is what the crux of the issue is. It's not that he doesn't know that you want this. It's that he just is not going to give that to you.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds like you want to be surprised and would be happy with whatever he does as long as it's romantic. Initiative. But like, what is romantic to you may not be romantic to him. And then also, like, what if he plans something that just sucks? Are you still going to be happy with it?
Yeah, because you have to ask yourself, like, how well does he know you at this point? Because the way that you're able to make things meaningful or romantic is because they're personalized. Because, like, you listen to the person. That's how someone's a good gift giver. Like, you know them. You pay attention to them. It's not like no one's ever saying the best gift they ever got was a candle from what, do you know what I mean? Like, or unless they asked for that. Like, it's just not like, that's where the personal aspect of it comes in. And so you don't have to be spontaneous to be romantic. Romantic can also be thoughtful. Yep. It can be all of these other things. And I think like, yeah, like think of your idea of what romantic is. And he should know this already at this point. And I think like you can't ask, you can, but you're not going to get a great result when you realize what it's boiling down to is you're asking your partner to think about you.
Yeah.
And to be thoughtful. That's a really and I think as women, I think we've all been in that spot. And like, it's a really shitty fucking feeling asking someone to care about you in the way that you care about them. And it shouldn't be embarrassing, but it does feel embarrassing. And unfortunately, it's not something you can teach. Like, because God, they will do it. They will do it when they want to do it and not because you asked for it, because they want to do it.
Yeah. And also like something romantic for me, like being completely surprised by something is not romantic to me. Yep. I don't like it because it might be something that I don't want. And so romantic to me would be us like sitting down and maybe planning out a few things. And if I want to be quote unquote surprised, he picks one of them and that's like a sweeping off my feet type moment. But like, I'm not going to be, I'll be fine. But like, that's not something like an anniversary is something where it's two people celebrating their love for each other. And I think that there should be equal contributions coming from both sides. somebody might be the planner, somebody might be the one that's paying for all of it, or we're both sitting down and working through, this is what we want to do. Somebody might be like you go on a trip, somebody might be like an activities person, somebody's let's just lie on the beach the whole day. You have to know what these things are in order for it to be enjoyable for both parties. Yeah, and that's how you're able to do romantic things for him, is because like you listen. You listen and you know and you feel that out, and like, or he has his standards for what romances him is just on the ground, and whatever you do is going to be happy. It's going to be exciting for him. Yeah, your high school boyfriend did not set the bar too high whatsoever. He set the bar wonderfully, and now you're meeting a guy who can't meet that. And it is exponentially harder for someone who views themselves as your elder, even if you don't want to think that way, abundantly harder for them to take your criticisms and grow, because they don't view you as an equal. Like that, you can grow up with someone and with a smaller age difference and like be in a similar life circumstance, and like you go through things together, you grow up, you both mature as people parallelly, like next to each other. And that's because like you view each other as peers. But with this, you're going to have a really fucking hard time as a 20-year-old getting a 27-year-old to quote unquote mature, because he thinks that he is more mature than you. And you've gone a whole year without having a conversation about this at all. Yeah. And that's why he's dating someone who seemingly you might have been 19 when you started dating. That's why. You were. Yeah, I can't do math, but yeah. That's why you're in that's why he's in a relationship with you. That's not why you're in a relationship with him. But like, I promise you that like the guys that I know who are dating girls who are exponentially younger than them, the way that I would get so irate at like how they would treat, like what they would do, not like treating someone disrespectfully, but like pretending that they don't remember what it's like to be 20, 22 years old and being like, well, why are they reading into this? And I'm like, if you were a 20-year-old and you started going out with a girl and then you invited her to an international wedding, she's going to think you're her boyfriend. Like, what do you mean? Like, it's just, I'm like, you can't plead ignorance to this, because this manipulation that you're doing, this mental gymnastics, you've only been able to do once your frontal lobe has been developed. You did not feel that way when you were that age. So stop dating. If you want to do that, if you want to just casually bring someone to a wedding and not have it be a thing, bring someone your own fucking age. Yep. So yeah, this is just, it's a canon event. Everyone's got a bad, shitty older guy who they date. And it doesn't even have to be that much older, but like different life stages. And you start to realize why they are dating someone who's at such a different spot. So best of luck. Let us know how it goes. Yeah. All right, we're going to take a break.
With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey everyone, join me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa DeMonts, for Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong?
Each week, we deliver 4 fun-filled shows.
In Don't Blame Me, we tackle our listeners' dilemmas with hilariously honest advice.
Then we have But Am I Wrong, which is for the listeners that didn't take our advice. Plus, we share our hot takes on current events.
Then tune in to See You Next Tuesday for our listener poll results from But Am I Wrong?
And finally, wrap up your week with Fisting Friday, where we catch up and talk all things pop culture.
Listen to Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.
And we're back, and it's time for the next.
Hi, hotties. My partner, 25, he, they, and I, 26, she, her, have been together for almost 2 years, officially 2 years in about 2 weeks. And I think he's going to propose either this month or before the year ends. There are some reasons and interactions that we've had that have led me to this conclusion. So first, we have talked about wanting to get engaged after 2 years since we started dating and having like a 2-year engagement. We know that we kind of want to get married in 2026. So this would be around the time that we would get engaged. Second, about a week or two ago, we had a discussion about how we wanted to celebrate our anniversary. And I asked if we wanted to get gifts for each other. And he said, "Oh, I already have your gift. It's small, but I've had it since May." And also, we've been openly talking about our wedding more, and he's been initiating the conversation by asking like very specific detailed questions, like what song are we walking down the aisle to, what type of venue do we want, etc. So now that I have a feeling that it's coming soon, it's all I can think about. Like, would rather be on Pinterest making my wedding mood board than working. So, Megan, did you know or have any feeling that Mott's was proposing soon? And if so, how did you stop yourself from completely freaking out in a good way? I'm excited and I'm ready. I just don't want to get my hopes up too high and then it not happen when I'm expecting to. So any advice would be appreciated. Love the pod. Thanks.
This is hilarious.
This is a great story. Well, the first time we were like planning something a couple weeks and I was like, oh, I don't know what it was, but it was like something that I was like, when are you golfing or whatever? And he was like, I'm golfing this day, but by the way, we're busy on this day. And I was like, oh, what are you doing? He goes, no, we're busy. Like, you've got plans. And I was like, what are the plans? And I wish you could go to the video to see this part. He was like, well, and he gives me this little look. And I went, I'm so sorry. Are you trying to wink, wink, nudge, nudge that you're proposing to me on that specific day? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, no, like, I'm so sorry. Love you to death. Pick another fucking day. I don't want to know like that. Like, I don't want to know like that at all. And it is different for us because we did go try on and like look at rings. And so he was like, and also this guy cannot keep a secret to save his goddamn fucking life. This man will go to the store like 3 months before Christmas and be like, I got your Christmas present. Do you want to know what it is? I really want to tell you. I really want to tell you. It's in the bag. Can I show you? And I have to like close my eyes and plug my ears and go, la, 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 la. No, I don't want to fucking see. Like, wait. He's like, it's impossible for him. He literally like buzzes like a child. He's like, I gotta tell you. So I knew that he wanted to tell me when he got the ring. And I was like, no, I already know that you, and he did. He already told me. And he was like, so I got it. And I was like, cool.
I didn't realize how far back this went.
What's that?
So y'all got engaged in December. I have texts with Mott's because I was just going to read those. This went back to October 14th.
Mm-hmm.
He said, hey, are you around the weekend of November 5th and 6th? I said, yes, what's up? So I'm planning to propose that weekend. And originally I was going to realize.
Yeah, I know. We both know. Don't have to read it, but we both know what that says.
Would you be down to be the distraction? I say, yep. Tell me what you need me to do, blah, blah, blah. So then October 19th rolls around and I was like, hey, Mott's, haven't heard from you. Let me know what I need to do. So I need to make the nail appointment around this time. And he said, day of, you mean? And I was like,
what? He's confused.
I think we need to do the nail appointment like in the morning. Then
that's a good distraction.
Yeah. Like, can we get this together? So then like we're talking all through the month of November. And then he's like, November 19th, December 4th, sorry, long day. Yeah. So then we scheduled the appointment. I scheduled the appointment for us to get her nails. Megan knows what's going on the whole fucking time.
But so here's what happened though. So he had a great cover story. And the whole thing is that like, I knew he's a couple years older than me and not an age gap, everybody. I'm not throwing stones from a glass house like that. But so we've always talked about this. Like we've talked years into our relationship that we were eventually going to get married. We wanted that. And he got to a point where he was like, hey, I'm ready whenever you are. Just let me know. And I was like, cool. And so we had like a consistent communication about that. And he'd be like, do you think, would you want to get married, engaged this year or like whatever? And it gets to a point where like, it was like, we want to get a house. That was our priority. And we knew that. And I was like, but you know what? Like, I'm actually like, I'd be ready to get engaged this year. And he was like, cool. Or I think it was the end. I think that was it was that year or whatever. And I said, like, we ready to get engaged, this year. And he was like, cool. So I knew that was coming. And again, like looking at the ring. So like I knew that was coming. But when he came up with the whole thing, I told him, I was like, all I want is I just want pictures. I would love if Taylor took the pictures. That's all I really care about. And like, don't propose to me at like a fucking baseball game. Like, which to be fair, that was our first date. So like could have been, but like, I don't want like a restaurant public kind of thing. And so this was how he did a good job, is he enlisted women. So my sister-in-law was like, hey, could you take some family pictures for us? And I was like, oh, totally. That's something I already do. Like, I already like go over on Halloween and like bring my camera and like I do that already. And so she's like, we think we'll do this day and like whatever. And so they were there in their little outfits and all of that kind of stuff. And I did not think about it whatsoever. Like, it was not even crossing my fucking mind until we were on FaceTime, or we were talking. You and I were talking face to face via our phones or computer or whatever. And we were like talking about like our plan or whatever. And as I was telling you, like, yeah, we can go we were planning on getting our nails done because I hadn't gotten them in. And I kept getting my nails done because I was like, I'm going to keep my nails nice for this whole fucking year because we're going to engage this year. And so that was not like a surprise to me, but it was literally as I was telling you, I need to be done at this time because I'm taking the family portraits. And as I was saying it, I was like, I'm not going to ask any other questions. And you're like, cool, awesome. And like in that moment, I was like, I think I'm getting engaged. And so it clicked. And so that to me is like the perfect amount of knowing. And so I think like if you stress about it too hard, or you think about it too much, or you obsess over it and like are looking for clues, the result will always disappoint you. It's just because like you're building up this whole thing, and there's something very nice about just like letting it happen and like letting life happen. And you're allowed to think about it. You're allowed to like know that it's coming. But unless you actually want to know, take a backseat. Don't get on Pinterest. Like, start a new show, start a book that you're going to get really enthralled into. But like, so many people get so excited and anticipated that they end up ruining this full surprise for them. And like, they don't actually want that. So go over that in your head with yourself. Like, how much do you actually want to know? Because the more you start diving into that mindset, the more you start snooping around, the more you start, like, that's how people find the ring. That's how people find out the plan and all of that kind of stuff. So I think like, unless you want to know and you don't want to be surprised at all, your partner should know that, and it shouldn't then be a surprise. Otherwise, distract.
Yeah. Like you've always said, like the proposal itself should be
that can be a surprise.
But the engagement should not be. And I like the way that the caller has things set up. Like y'all have been talking about getting married. Yeah. He's bringing it up like it's happening. I do want to say, I don't want you to set a precedence for this engagement ring and
anniversary gift. I'm going to tell you right now, I would immediately go, my engagement ring is not.
Yeah, that's not anniversary present. As someone whose birthday is by Valentine's Day, I need two different presents. They're not the same.
I need to know that, like, because then am I supposed to get you an anniversary gift, which is like a thank you for getting me this ring? No, that's like,
or do you want an engagement ring too?
Which is fair. Because like, I also think that like, if you decide that like that was a big budget item and you don't want to get each other anniversary gifts that year, that's fine.
Yes.
But it's not an anniversary gift.
And if he said he's already got it and then it's your ring, no. You need to return the gift that you got him.
Yeah. Like, that's like, you have to think about like, if you think of like the anticipation of something like New Year's or Halloween or whatever, sometimes the anticipation and buildup is more fun without planning and without like obsessing over it. It's just like having me like Christmas, like just let that build and get excited. But I know a lot of fucking people who they just get ahead of themselves and they end up spoiling it for them that they didn't actually want, just because like you get caught up in the moment. So I also think like enjoy this part and don't dive into whole wedding like stuff, because like you want to enjoy being engaged. And like right now, the time period that you get to enjoy is I could get engaged any day from now. Like, that's so exciting, but don't hop to the next step of like, because then you burn out. And I just think that like, I don't know. It's fun to be excited for next steps and don't get ahead of yourself.
Yeah.
But
So
let us know
fun
when it
to get there.
happens. Send us a pic. We'd love to see.
Yes, it's coming. But if you want to be surprised, you can't anticipate a specific day.
Yeah.
You could be disappointed though. You go on this trip and you're like, that girl that's not Rachel, but she is a Rachel. That one that thought she was going and her dog was dying. That person you always bring up on But Am I Wrong? That moved to an apartment and completely changed what it looked like. Oh my gosh, Megan.
Danielle Bernstein.
Yes.
Sorry. Totally took me a minute. She is a Rachel. The first second I was like, what's her name if it's not Rachel? Danielle. Yeah, tough days for Danielle.
Merry Christmas, everybody! My name is Eric Peterson. I'm here with my good buddy,
Danny Jordan.
and we are the hosts of Christmas Countdown Show.
We're so thrilled to be bringing the merriment to you all this holiday season. On Christmas Countdown, we love to count down our top 10 favorite things related to the holiday season. That could be food, movies, music, everything that we all love about this massively merry good time. So wherever you get your podcasts, make sure you click that subscribe button. Eric, are you ready?
I am ready, and we hope that you are too. Merry Christmas, everybody! Let's go!
Do you love Disney? Then you are going to love our hit podcast, Disney Countdown. I'm Megan, the Magical Millennial.
And I'm the Dapper Danielle.
On every episode of our fun and family-friendly show, we count down our top 10 lists of all things Disney. There is nothing we don't cover.
We are famous for rabbit holes, Disney-themed games, and fun facts you didn't know you needed, but you definitely need in your life. So if you're looking for a healthy dose of Disney magic, check out Disney Countdown wherever you get your podcasts.
Before we close it out, I was going to bring this up on our Fisting Friday episode, but I forgot. Did you see that Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala and Tim Walz? Right, Walz?
Mm-hmm. Of course I did. It's pretty hard to miss. It was hilarious when it happened because Trump had like a his brain never is really working, but like he was so mad. And he was like, whatever. She couldn't endorse Biden. It's like, you're not running against Biden. Stop bringing his name
with that
up.
Man.
Stop bringing his name up. And Kamala also said that during the debate because he never said her name one time during the debate. And she used like a power move and went over and entered because they've never met before. If this was their first time ever meeting in person. Yeah.
Wow. In person. Yeah.
And so she walked to his podium and greeted him and said her name, hi, I'm Kamala Harris, and then went to, and let's have a good debate, and then went to her podium, and he was thrown off to begin with.
He was shaking in his little boots, and his little in his stained ass skid mark tighty whities.
Yes. And
terrified.
So after the debate was over, Taylor posted, and then he like called into Fox whatever and was going ballistic because a few weeks ago he saw those AI images of Taylor endorsing him. Yeah. Wasn't Taylor, AI images.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was pretty much after like his team and everyone said those are, or I don't even know if his team people were saying those are fake. And he was like, I didn't know they were sent to me, but I like her. I like her music. Like basically like she's going to give me an endorsement.
Yeah.
I don't know how he would have thought this because she endorsed Biden before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand.
Mm-hmm. She also specifically endorsed in the local Tennessee elections, specific local politicians.
Yes.
So like, and that is much more niche on her platform, considering she has about 5 to 6 houses.
Yes.
So the idea that he thought.
And so he was on Fox and Friends, which I don't. Did you hear about any of this? Or I don't know if it's Fox and Friends, but
yeah,
he called in.
He
calls every day.
Every day.
And they didn't take his calls.
Yeah, they've started kind of good. Like, okay, stop
we're
calling.
good.
We have a
don't
job
need
to
you.
do.
Yeah. And he called in and he was like very ballistic, but kept bringing up Brittany Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
it's
he
like
made a
these
whole
two
post
people
thanking her.
are not this, like they're not on the same level at all. as far as their reach goes. But he was like, I like her better. I'm like, they don't even do the same thing except for bone people that are on the same team.
Yeah. Who also, up until this year, we're not friends.
No.
And the way that I need an investigation into the rest of the Chiefs to be like, how do you guys feel about the switch up of these two men on the team who historically have not been?
Right.
Everyone's like, no, that's his best friend. I go,
no. He's talked about how he does not like most of the people on the team.
So I'm just like, this is so crazy to me. This switch up is, I'm like, come on. The way I would kill to be in the locker room to be like, so what do we think about this? Like, what's going on? But yeah, like I saw a great post from TikTok account, Crutches and Spice. Her name's Amani.
Yep.
Right? Crutches and Spice?
Yep.
And she was saying that it's so clearly an evergreen post. And so she's like, so people who are like upset that she didn't post this earlier, no, it was meant to come out right after the debate to like drive traffic to that, like closer to register to vote, doing all of these kinds of things, but also on the heels of like, we all anticipated and knew that Trump was going to make an absolute idiot of himself, as he always does. But this time it was a larger stage than we usually grant him. And so she's like, no, this was like strategically put out. This is so clearly been written before and was waited. Like, this isn't like a too little too late. This was timed without a doubt with saying, hey, when's the best time for your campaign for me to release this?
Yes. And now they've been using her music on all the TikToks. Also, Megyn Kelly is losing her goddamn mind. Not that she had it to begin with.
Yeah. I was like, I haven't heard her name in so long.
She got fired from Fox, and now she's got her own thing, and
she's on one of those,
spiraling, talking about like
she was betrayed by her fellow white woman.
I was like, nothing about I'm not like anti-Taylor or anything, but I'm not like a fan. I don't immediately download an album to listen to, but
you miss her country era. It's fair.
I miss her country era. But this woman, you would think that her best friend just came in and kicked her in her vagina. And this is the kind of betrayal that just happened.
Oh my God, I'm actually
nothing
obsessed
about
with
Taylor
that.
has changed.
No. She must have missed the documentary. She must have missed Miss Americana. She must have missed what things that make me, gay pride, that makes me. You must have missed that, Megyn Kelly. Like there. Okay.
And so Megyn Kelly was like, she needs to do her research because what they stand for is taking people's children and giving them operations and making them sterile. And I was like, woman, calm the fuck down.
Girl,
you need to do your research.
Yeah, mama, less research.
Yeah. And then Caitlin Clark liked Taylor's posts. And now that
actually surprises me.
I know, me too. And now she's getting shit from all those right-wing people that have been supporting her all this time. And they're posting all on her Instagram and TikTok talking about how much of a disappointment she is.
Well, and now Caitlin Clark, you've gained a new fan.
I mean, I wouldn't call myself a fan, but I've got half a millimeter more of respect than I did before.
I am pleasantly surprised.
Me too.
Shocked is truly what I feel. Yeah. But this is a plot twist that I did not see coming.
Yes.
So I promise you that we are not the only ones in this camp. So you might have lost those other ones, but I'm shocked and awe, parentheses, positive connotation.
Yes. Yep.
I'm like really surprised.
Yeah.
See, and that's because for me, the way that you could never catch me staying quiet while Republicans praised me, the way that to me, that's actually the most embarrassing thing ever.
So embarrassing.
I would be, even if I thought what I was saying was right, I would immediately go, I take everything back.
As incorrect.
Yes. I could think that like whatever I've done was correct. The second that if I heard or saw MAGA fucking conservatives backing me, I would go, excuse me. I'm going to figure out what went wrong, but I'm going to let you know that whatever it is me. I take it all back. Yep. That's the biggest fucking red flag.
And I'll give her a little bit room to grow because she just graduated from college.
My God, yeah.
Legit just finished college. So time. But you took a step today.
Yeah. One large step for Caitlin Clark, one small step For womankind.
Yeah, womankind.
Yeah.
Hilariously, Brittany Griner had on a shirt that said that she was voting for Kamala and she was practicing in it. Brittany, and I haven't seen anybody else talk about it. It's legit an AKA shirt. And Brittany is not an AKA.
Wait, does Brittany know it's an AKA shirt?
I don't know. I believe because Asia, she is an AKA.
I was
so
gonna say,
I believe she probably has said something to her. Or no, because she wouldn't have let her borrow it. Like, this is not something that you should be doing.
It was laundry day and you swiped and
or she had somebody go out and buy her a shirt and thought that it was fine because it doesn't say AK on it, but it's black. The lettering is pink and green. It has 20 pearls on it, which is our thing. It has an ivy on it, which is our thing.
That's like, an AKA shirt. I would know that.
Yes.
That's so funny. She had to get on the black. She's like, who can I call for a hookup for this shirt? That's so fucking funny. Wait, that's I have to look that up.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, but let's go, girlies. Let's get all these people that if you are a quiet person that people might think that you are leaning the other way, speak out. Speak out. Because the disruption and anger that comes from these people that think that you're on their side, hilarious.
Oh my God. So hilarious. And also, if you think you've made it abundantly clear, you can be clearer. Because the way that the amount of people who told me they were disappointed in me, and I went, where have you been? Not once ever. All I've done in my whole life is tried to piss you off. All I've tried to do is say, fuck you, not like you, hate you. I want to make you hate me as much as I hate you. And people need it spelled out, not just once, repeatedly. And also, I got to say, great time to plug Cammie, who is working with creators for Harris, and she's killing it.
She's doing the work.
She's like, so sorry, catfish. I got to get my bitch in the White House.
Right.
Actually, I got to get my bitch promoted in the White House because she's already there.
Yep.
So, that's our episode. We hope you all enjoyed. And if you did, you can always leave us a review on the podcast app. You can also leave an individual episode review on Spotify. Join our Patreon. We do live streams twice a month. And you can also watch the video versions of the podcast. And you can also watch ad-free. And I know we at least have one new person who joined the Patreon because they were like, do you still make that podcast? I loved it. And I was like, yeah. And they're like, where is it? Just on Patreon? I was like, no, it's everywhere. But we also do Patreon video. And they're like, amazing. Just joined back. Can't wait. Love it. And I was like, perfect. So
great. We'll get back to
happy
this
to
stuff.
have you back.
It's on my list of things to talk about at our third quarter meeting tomorrow.
Yep. So, anything else?
That's it.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah. Bye.
Don't Blame Me is a production by me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa D. Montz, plus Diamond Imprint Productions.
Post-production sound and editing by Coco Lorenz.
Production assistance by Melanie D. Watson.
And music by Giacomo Picasso and Ryan Hunter.
Welcome to the small town of Chinook, where faith runs deep and secrets run deeper. In this new thriller, religion and crime collide when a gruesome murder rocks the isolated Montana community. Everyone is quick to point their fingers at a drug-addicted teenager, but local deputy Ruth Vogel isn't convinced. She suspects connections to a powerful religious group. Enter federal agent V.B. Lauro, who has been investigating a local church for possible criminal activity. The pair form an unlikely partnership to catch the killer, unearthing secrets that leave Ruth torn between her duty to the law, her religious convictions, and her very own family. But something more sinister than murder is afoot, and someone is watching Ruth.
Chinook, starring Kelly Marie Tran and Sanaa Lathan. Listen to Chinook wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. Look for The Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Bitches on Comics is a bi-monthly interview podcast where we talk to the coolest LGBTQ plus folks and women in comics and pop culture.
Our unique perspectives and welcoming nature have earned us the honor of being named a Best Comic Book Podcast by Book Riot, Screen Rant, The Mary Sue, Comic Book Herald, and Comic Book Couples Counseling.
Bitches on Comics is hosted by moi, Monica Estrella Negra, filmmaker, writer, and co-founder of Audrey's Revenge Film.
And me, Essie Fleenor, comic and pop culture nerd and culture critic with writing in The Independent, Vice, Electric Literature, Star Trek, and so much more.
We're also both voting members of Gallica, the Society of LGBTQ plus entertainment critics.
Join Bitches on Comics for in-depth, hilarious, and heartfelt conversations with the likes of Stephanie Williams, Leah Anderson, and the late, great Rachel Pollack.
Listen to Bitches on Comics on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Or tune in at bitchesoncomics.com. New episodes every other Wednesday.